Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, we are going to focus on Kubernetes architecture. So let's start. So in Kubernetes, we have two components. The very first component is control plane, which is this one, and another component is worker node. So with the help of these two components, we run our application or workload on Kubernetes cluster. So let's focus on control plane first. So in control plane, we have total 5 components. The very first is Kube API server. Another we have is Kube controller manager. Then we have Kube scheduler. Then we have a cloud controller manager, and then we have a etcd. So every component, the job of every component is different. So let's understand one by one. So first understand about a Kube API server basically. So this is the front end for our Kubernetes cluster. It exposes the Kubernetes API. What does it mean basically? So whatever the request comes to a Kubernetes cluster, it comes through this Kube API server. So it could be your external user who is directly interacting with Kubernetes cluster, or maybe a worker node who is trying to deploy the application pod on worker nodes. They always interact with Kube API servers. So if you see here these arrows, so Kube API servers can interact with all the components, but Kube API servers can only the etcd component is only the component who interact with only Kube API servers. This particular component don't interact with any other Kubernetes component or control plane components. So what's the workflow? Let's understand the workflow. So suppose the user send a request to Kube API server. So basically it receive the API request from the user using kubectl, or maybe any external agent, or maybe any other internal Kubernetes component as well. So it first validate and then it process the request, and then it basically persists the cluster state to a etcd. Because it basically, in simple terms, if we can say, it basically act as a central communication hub for Kubernetes cluster. So this is the role of Kube API server. This is the very important or main component, I would say, for Kubernetes cluster. Another component here we have is etcd. So basically etcd is a key value store which generally used to backing up all the state configuration metadata of our Kubernetes cluster. So in general it store basically entire configuration data, state of your Kubernetes cluster, and the metadata of the Kubernetes cluster. So Kube API server is the only component, as we discussed, that interact with etcd. These components don't interact with etcd because there are no use for them to interact with etcd, because everything like configuration, metadata, everything is going to store on etcd, and all the requests come to Kube API. So Kube API directly send those configuration data to etcd, and we have multiple replicas of etcd. So in case if there are some issues with etcd one instance, then another instance will automatically launch. So that's why we will always get a high availability of our cluster. Suppose in any case, like in the case of disaster recovery, something goes wrong, so we have a backup of etcd, because this is the place where we are storing entire configuration of our Kubernetes cluster. Now let's understand another component, which is this one, which is Kube controller manager. So basically it runs controller process. So controllers, what the roles of controllers? Controllers regulate the state of the cluster while continuously monitoring its current state and making changes to move it towards the desired state. So the job of Kube controller manager is, it basically manage the, or I would say it basically monitor the current state, and it make the changes to reach to the desired state. So there are many controllers which run behind of this Kube controller manager. So I have specified few names here, like node controller, replication controller, endpoint controllers, service account and token controller, deployment controller. So there are many other controllers as well, which I have not specified here. And each controller has their own job or own task. So basically, for example, node controller manages all the worker nodes. Replication controller is responsible for to manage the replication of your like pods or whatever you have given a command. Similarly, we have endpoint and other component as well. So again, this kube controller manager is also I would say do a lot of job for us because it's multiple controllers behind it. Now another component here we have is kube scheduler. So basically a kube schedulers watch for the newly created pod, and it basically the job of, in simple words, the job of kube scheduler is to schedule the pod in available worker node. So it basically what it does, it basically continuously monitor the kube API server for new pods without a node assigned. So as suppose this user has requested I want two application or two pods of my application, then what this kube scheduler does, the request user send a request to kube API servers, and the kube scheduler is continuously monitor the request from the kube API servers. So based on the available worker node, it will basically send a request, or I would say forward the request, and it will schedule the pod on that particular worker node. Another component here we have is cloud controller manager. So this basically generally integrate with Kubernetes for the underlying cloud providers. Suppose if we are running Kubernetes on Azure, AWS or GCP, any cloud provider, then only this cloud controller manager works. Otherwise there are no use of this if we are using on-premise Kubernetes cluster. So it basically manages like all the configuration, again like infrastructure like load balancers or storage. So everything will be managed by this cloud controller. Now come to the another component, which is worker node. So basically worker nodes are where the actual work happen, like the application, containers, everything run on these worker nodes. So whatever the applications we request to Kubernetes to, like we have requested, okay, I want to run my application, then your application runs on a worker node. So there are many worker nodes which we attached to a Kubernetes cluster. So the very first or important component of worker node is kubelet. So here we have again multiple components, but the main components which runs in each worker node, which is kubelet, kubeproxy, and container runtime. Container runtime could be anything, like it could be Docker or maybe other container runtime as well. So it is not mandatory you have to always run a Docker. So let's understand what is the job of kubelet basically. So basically this kubelet basically is the agent that runs on each machine. As we discussed, it ensures that the containers are running in a pod. So as we know, the containers runs inside a pod. So what's the workflow of this basically? So it basically registers the node first from the kube API servers. That's why again I have drawn this particular line. So these worker node is also directly communicate with kube API servers because all the request comes from this particular part. And it basically so generally kubectl is responsible to manage our pods inside our pods basically, or I would say it basically responsible to assign the pod to the nodes also. And if we talk about a communication basically, so the container runtime for this particular purpose. The container runtime is like if you have to start the container or you have to stop the container. So everything, like whatever the management part of container or for a pod basically is done by kubectl. So like when we run when we create any application or a pod from our local system containers, what we do, we always use a kubectl commands. So that is the utility which runs on each worker node. Another important component here we have is kubeproxy. So kubeproxy is basically responsible for all the network related communication. How pod basically inside your cluster communicate from each other. So that is the part or the job of kubeproxy component here. So again, this kubeproxy also I would say watch the kube APIs, watch the request from the kube API servers. As soon as this a kube proxy receive the request from the kube APIs, it start doing their job. And here the pod basically I have this pod could be anything. It could be your application pod, it could be your service pod, it could be your ingress pods, like anything it can happen. So I just simplify the image here is pod. And container runtime is already discussed. So this is the basically a software that is responsible to or I would say for running the container. So I hope it's clear. In case if you have any doubts, you can ping me over comments as well. So let's keep this video simple. So that's all for today. See you next video. Thank you so much.